On February 1st, 1865, President Abraham Lincoln signed a resolution later ratified as the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution abolishing slavery. The Kinsey African American Art and History Collection celebrates and chronicles the lives of African Americans before this country even became a nation through slavery, emancipation, the civil rights movement, and today. Letters, art, manuscripts, sculptures, and more celebrate the resilience of people who found a way out of no way. This groundbreaking exhibit has made its way to Houston's Holocaust Museum. Joining us are the curators who started the collection and have shared it around the world. Good morning to Shirley, who also has a birthday coming up, so early happy birthday, and Bernard Kinsey. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right.
It's a pleasure to be here.
It is a pleasure to have you on this show. I want to start with how you all met. Shirley was fresh out of jail, so your lovebird was a jailbird. Explain that to us.
Well, in 1963, Shirley, Tallahassee was a hotbed for civil rights, and I saw this cute 17-year-old basically getting out of jail after being arrested for demonstrating. And I just thought that she was one of the prettiest young ladies I had seen, and also to have that kind of courage in 1963 to go up against the system. So we've been together for 60 years, almost from that day.
Explain to us and describe to us, because so many times when we talk about the things at that time, people say that was so long ago. It was within my lifetime, barely, but it was within my lifetime, so that was not that long ago. Explain to us the atmosphere in this country at that time.
Well, I grew up in St. Augustine, Florida, and I grew up with my grandmother. And Dr. King had come to our town several times, and
St. Augustine,
Mama was afraid for me with the Ku Klux Klan and all that around. And so she sent me away to North Carolina to be away that summer. So as soon as I got to college, it was right after the March on Washington, which was a very, very pivotal time in our lives. And I just couldn't sit still. I had to get out there and be involved.
Yeah.
Growing up in the segregated South, as you know, was really pretty tough during that time.
Yeah.
And we're happy to have been a part of the change that's taking place now.
Yeah.
You all,
and both of it, Florida A&M. I didn't say that, but that's where we met at Florida A&M, 1963.
when you all got married, you had a goal and you wanted to visit as many countries as possible and learn about different cultures and how the world was connected. But little did you know it would be the start of something else. As you were collecting things, you realized you didn't have a lot of things that spoke to your history and African American history. And we say African American, there's African history and then there's African American history.
Right. Yeah.
Correct.
Well, you know, it's really interesting. We just came back from Nigeria and Ghana in October, November, which was our 110th country. But it's all started in the 8th grade with my geography teacher, Mr. McDonald. He used to take us around the world in books. And I saw a picture of Machu Picchu in Peru and the Parthenon in Athens. And I, from that moment on, I wanted to see this place, and I expanded. You know, as we grew, we began. And our first trip really was to South America in 1976. And
big trip.
Yeah, big trip, and we went to Machu Picchu. And it's something about internalization and visualization that all your listeners need to practice, because it absolutely works. When you put it in your mind deep and you get to working on it, it's amazing what you can do, and that's what our lives.
Speaking of amazing what you can do, over 16 million people around the world have seen your collection, your exhibit. It has come to the Holocaust Museum here in Houston, which some people might say that's an unexpected place for this particular exhibit, but you have a meaning behind it.
Okay, well, the relationship with African Americans and the Jewish community has been strong and relevant for well over a century. Most people know about, some aspects of that, the freedom rides. And what you're going to see at the Holocaust Museum are all different relationships. For instance, Black troops liberated the concentration camps in the 1945. Jewish professors worked at Black colleges because they couldn't work at white colleges in the South, which saved their lives essentially in terms of them not being sent back to Germany. So we we started in 1595 with an African American girl named Estebanna being baptized in St. Augustine. 9 years before Jamestown was founded, there were African Americans in this country, as we know, called the United States. And we think this is going to be one more of 39 cities we've done around the world, and we invite each of you to come out.
Yeah,
as we
go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, as we traveled, we realized we were collecting information about other cultures and didn't know enough about our own. And like you, when our son was born, it was like, okay, time
to
out. We've got to learn more about us.
And I love, like, in the word community is the word unity. And when people from different cultures and races and ethnicities come to see this exhibit, what you're looking at is humanity. The things that we celebrate, you know, no matter, every group has had tough times throughout history, but I'm gonna use the phrase, still we rise. All right, the way the exhibit is set up, as you walk through, it's the doors of no return, Ghana's Cape Coast Castle.
Well, we just left there in late October, and to actually experience that dungeon, that's what it was. 4.5 million people left Ghana and were put on 12,000 ships, 40,000 voyages to the Americas, 15 million people stolen from Africa. So you're going to get the experience of walking through the door of no return, same doors that our ancestors walked through. And once you actually enter the Kinsey collection, you're going to then experience all of this brilliance and genius of the African-American people in this country starting in 1595. Now, you're getting a chance to see some of these images, but 2 3-dimensional manuscripts, documents, letters. Essentially, we have documented with over 700 pieces the African-American story of accomplishment and achievement. And that's what we are so proud to share with you at the Holocaust Museum.
Yeah, and let me just tell people like some of the things we're talking about. Phyllis Wheatley's book of poems around the 1700s, an original letter signed by Frederick Douglass in 1857, original bills of sale. This is, I have seen a bill of sale for a human being. In fact, my dad's grandparents were a family of 8 in 1863, sold for $100 a piece. That is so sobering to see that, right? You have films there, artwork, you have all kinds of things, you know, spreading for, like you said, from back in the 1500s to today. Also some free public programs, Black Genealogy Workshop. That's another thing I suggest that everybody do. There's something about seeing the sums of all your parts, right? Let me end with this. I remember Condoleezza Rice was asked about how she felt about critical race theory. And so aside from being political, one thing she said was, I think that a lesson on someone's history should start at home at the kitchen table. This is a great way for someone to get a better sense of our history. What do you hope when people come to see this that they leave with and keep and move on to next, or pass on to next generations?
I'd like to think that they would walk away with a lot of aha moments as I didn't know this, why didn't I know this? And come to understand that they walk away being educated, motivated, and inspired by what you see there. Take those items home with you in your heart, in your mind, and children, for Black History Month, which one day won't have to be just in February, but for Black History Month, you'll find all kinds of folks that you can do reports on, so you can learn more about our history, American history.
Because today, we are part of American history. I think today, so often in the headlines, we're seen as victims when our history says that we're more than victims.
You won't see that at the Kinsey collection. We do not have any of the items that we've collected over 50 years of people with their heads down. So when you leave there, we don't dwell on struggle. We dwell on getting through struggle and achievement. And even in the 19th century, there were African-American painters that made a living painting in this country. And we have 5 of the top 6. You're going to be blown away, like the 16 million people around the world that have seen this. I mean, we did 5 years at Disney where we had 12 million people see the Kinsey collection, 2.5 million at the Smithsonian, the Hong Kong. We've been translated in Chinese and Spanish. Our new 6th edition books, which you should pick up, 360 pages, is available there. And the relationship that we've developed with the Holocaust Museum is just special. And we want to talk about how we work together rather than all this other foolishness that you hear all the time. Yeah. And it's all there for you. And not just in February is a word that Shirley created a long time ago, because our people died this concept of the myth of absence is the first thing you're going to see. And it says that as African Americans, we are invisible presences in this country, which means that we're there. We're just not seen. We're not part of the narrative. We're not part of the story in America. It's like going into a graveyard and there are no headstones, because that's exactly what happened to the African American story in this country. It was wiped out.
Yeah, we want to thank you for changing that.
Okay.
You know, instead of saying change the narrative, you actually corrected the narrative or made it present. Thank you all so much for bringing this exhibit here.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Charlie, happy
appreciate you.
birthday, happy early birthday. All right.
Great day, Houston. Okay, thank you.